it's Emily. Um, I did my lesson plan as an updated lesson plan from a previous lesson that didn't go so well. I didn't include as much language support as I wanted, not enough differentiation, and so this is an updated lesson plan with some of the changes I made. Some of the objectives I'm trying to cover are speaking and writing, and I did not originally integrate sentence frames and sentence starters, so I went ahead and added some of those. But I do I do try to encourage students that don't need the sentence frames to kind of extrapolate on their answer. So, for example, if we're talking about the holistic admissions process and the students only need to identify 3 factors that colleges consider on an application, these students I might encourage them to add how they're meeting these factors or how they might integrate extra volunteer work or extracurriculars. As usual, I like to cover some key vocabulary and explain the ones that are cognates or false cognates. The big word that the students are learning for this lesson is holistic, for the holistic admissions process. I chose this topic and especially to talk about it with my middle schoolers because I attended a ACT conference on how ACT scores are declining, but grade inflation is increasing. And so many students already have low ACT scores and their grades may not match or may be low to begin with. And so what can the student show the admissions team that is representative of them as a student beyond their grades and their test scores? Something that I haven't been doing that I want to start doing is handing out printouts. I include this admissions factors chart on the first slide of the presentation, but students don't have a copy of the presentation. So if they didn't get a picture of this slide or they didn't get to write down, then they don't have anything to refer to. So I gave them this chart. I also It added extra opportunities for practice and demonstrating. So performance-based assessment. The students will go to their specific high school's website, since we have 8 different high schools that the students might be going to. And they're going to look up the clubs and extracurriculars that are listed on that website. So not only will they be familiarizing themselves with the website and its contents, but identifying different clubs that they can join, including sports. And they will use these in their formal assessment. One is writing, one is speaking. They will share with me the factors they chose for their holistic admissions process, but also some of the clubs that they want to join. Students might also know what they need to be able to join this club, if there's an audition or a certain GPA requirement. And I'd also have these students note if any of these extracurriculars can lead to scholarship opportunities. Let's see. So for enrichment, because I know that some of these assessments might be beyond some advanced ELLs language capabilities. So I want to encourage them to extrapolate on their answers. And they can even look up their preferred college's GPA and ACT requirements for admissions. And I did have feedback on a previous lesson plan about what if the student doesn't want to go to college or they feel that this is intimidating. So I'd include that as a additional higher order thinking question. If you can't get into the college you want, what is your backup? If you don't want to go to college at all, how can you still use these factors on a job application or a resume in an interview? How can all of these factors tie in to show what type of person and student you are, even if you don't have the greatest GPA, which post-COVID and the trends with the ACT data are showing that many students are going to have lower GPAs and ACT scores. So we really did all of this lesson just to kind of drive home, how are you going to sell yourself as an individual if it's between you and another peer for a job or a scholarship or admissions at a college. Um, so, in addition to multiple forms of assessment beyond just giving them multiple choice, or even a Kahoot quiz and recording those answers, I want to focus more on performance based assessment. And a lot of times this can look like creating the list of clubs and activities they want to be part of. Maybe if they need a letter of recommendation, they could show me an email of how they're going to request a teacher to write that for them. If they're curious about the admissions requirements for college or even just a high school club, how can you ask for that? What type of language do you need? That cognitive academic language proficiency? What kind of higher tier vocabulary would that student need to use? So I hope that this lesson plan is kind of a jumping point, kind of a starting point for students to start thinking about, what am I going to do when I leave my middle school and I start going into high school? How am I going to make myself marketable using the activities and skills that I already participate in? So I hope that some of these added scaffolding and language supports will assist the students in future iterations of this lesson. Thank you.